Right, come on, let's have a chat. You've got a reactive dog. You're probably here because you've tried everything. You've watched all the videos. You've bought the harness, the clicker, the treat pouches, the high value treats, maybe the prong collar, the e-collar, maybe even tried some fancy method that promised you the world. And your dog is still a fucking nightmare. Let me be brutally honest with you. Most of what you've been told about fixing reactivity is complete bullshit. It's feel-good, fluffy garbage that makes the owner feel better, but does absolutely nothing for the dog. In fact, there's a good chance you're doing certain things that are making it worse. So today, we're going to cut through that bullshit, and I'm going to tell you the things that other trainers are maybe too scared to say. This might not be comfortable, but it's the truth. And if you want to actually solve the problem, then stick around. If you want to keep coddling your dog and making excuses, then you can leave the video right now. One of the single biggest mistakes I see owners making is micromanaging their dog. You're on a walk, your leash is tight, you're constantly saying, watch me, leave it, look at me. You're a nervous wreck, and that anxiety is going straight down the leash to your dog. Here's a reality check. All that nagging, that pressure is making the trigger, the other dog, the person, the car, the cat, more interesting. You're essentially screaming, look at that really important thing over there. You're giving a lot of subtle cues that what's about to happen is way more important than it actually should be. Think of it like this. If you put in a room with a big red button and spend the whole time telling yourself, don't look at the button, don't think about the button, what's the only thing you're going to think about? The button. The solution isn't more control, it's giving your dog the freedom to make a choice. You have to let them see the trigger, process it, and make a decision. Only then can you give simple and clear feedback. A yes for a good choice, and maybe, a no for a bad one. Stop being a helicopter parent to your dog. Okay, next one, let's talk about tools. People love buying stuff. They think the new collar is going to be the magic wand. I've seen it 1,000 times. Someone slaps on a prong collar with their dog, has no idea how to use it, and then wonders why their dog is now trying to bite them instead of the other dog. Congratulations, you've just created some handler aggression. A tool is an amplifier. If you're communicating clearly, it can make communication clearer. But if you're talking nonsense to your dog and you've not conditioned it appropriately, a tool just makes you kind of louder. It doesn't fix the problem in the dog's head. The problem is your dog sees a trigger and predicts an eruption, and a piece of metal around your dog's neck doesn't necessarily change that prediction. Your strategy and how you apply that tool as part of a training process, that's what changes it. So in a nutshell, please do not just go and slap a tool on a dog and expect it to fix all your problems. More often than not, if you try and DIY it without clear application, someone holding your hand, there's a good chance you can make things worse. Okay, this next one is a big one. The walk itself is not the training session. The walk that you look to complete with your dog and then to be non-reactive, that's like your exam. So if you're out on a walk and your dog is constantly reacting, you've already failed the test. You don't cram for an exam whilst you're sitting in the exam hall. You prepare for it beforehand. The real work in treating your dog's reactivity is actually done away from the triggers. It's building your relationship, offering structured play to meet your dog's innate desires, delivering a very clear and concise communication system. That can just be a yes and a no initially. And then ultimately the walk is where you go to test how well your preparation is going. If you find yourself constantly correcting your dog, then you might be too close to the trigger, or your dog is not prepared enough. It's not rocket science. Increase your distance in that instance, or go back to the drawing board and look how we can better prepare our dogs. There's loads of videos on our channel that outlines these concepts. So we want to set our dog up for success, obviously not failure. So stop putting them in situations that they're not yet prepared for, can't handle, and then end up getting frustrated when they ultimately fail. All right, let's get on to the next one, which really pisses people off. It's punishment. The purely positive brigade has turned this into a very dirty word, but we're all grown-ups here. Punishment is simply reducing the likelihood, frequency, or intensity of a behavior. And you do not need absolute brutal corrections or hitting your dog over the head with a rolled up newspaper in order to achieve this. That's not it. That would be abuse. Punishment isn't about cruelty, it's about feedback. But like anything we do with our dog has to understand the concept of punishment before administering it in the presence of a trigger. If we do not prepare our dog to understand a correction and we just take them in front of the trigger and willy-nilly start yanking on a leash, that's going to build what we call a superstition, whereby they already have a negative association with the trigger, and we're adding in more negative, creating a double negative, and then what's going to happen? That's going to amplify our dog's reactivity. But what I will say is taking a behavior off the menu is one of the kindest things you can do for your dog, because it creates a space when you can then start actually counter-conditioning how your dog feels about that particular trigger. We've talked about our disengagement work all through this channel, and sometimes we have to close down a behavior in order to open a window to create new, alternate, more constructive behaviors. A clear no through the means of punishment is infinitely kinder than a lifetime of confusion, anxiety, and being dragged around by their neck and then occasionally shoving treats in their face. And finally, although this is more relevant for those with working breeds, it's applicable to all dogs. You might have bought a Malinois, a German Shepherd, a Border Collie, maybe even a Cockapoo, and you're complaining it has too much energy and drive. What did you expect? You bought a Ferrari and you're complaining it's too fast. So what I'd advise here is stop suppressing your dog's genetics. You can't do it. It's impossible. That energy, that drive, them outlets, they have to go somewhere. And if you don't give them a job, your dog will self-employ themselves and it'll come out sideways somewhere else. And usually in the form of reactivity or anxiety or both. So you have to let your dog be a dog and occasionally experience what they're bred for. That doesn't mean you need to go and join a protection club or rent a herd of sheep, but meeting your dog's needs through the means of substitutional play, I call it, where we add in a little bit of stalking during games for our Border Collie, we add in tug for our German Shepherd, maybe we even tell our German Shepherd to bark on command. That can go a really long way in terms of fulfilling our dog's needs. You cannot expect your dog to be a calm, well-behaved house pet if you're not meeting the fundamental needs of their breed. You have to fulfill their needs before you expect them to fulfill yours.
If you have a reactive dog and you feel like you've tried absolutely everything, then I've just put together a free training that hopefully will be able to help you and maybe the confusion you're experiencing right now, surfing the internet, looking for magic wand, looking for the golden goose, looking for the solution, the be-all and end-all solution. I think I've got it. The reason I think I've got it is because it's been tried and tested over thousands of dogs over the last couple of years, and I've just put it together in a free training for you guys. So if you click the link in the description, you'll be able to hop on, watch the video, and if you've got any questions, you let me know. I'll see you in there.
So just to recap, stop micromanaging. 2, have an actual strategy. 3, don't do your training during the walk. You do it in preparation for the walk. 4, punishment isn't the devil. And 5, for the love of God, please just let your dog occasionally be a dog. The goal here isn't to have a perfectly obedient robot. The goal here is to have a dog that is neutral, a dog that can exist in the world without freaking out or being disruptive to society. And that is only going to come from a clear strategy, a plan, not from avoidance or this feel-good nonsense you'll see pushed on the internet. Stop looking for the magic tool or quick fix. The fix is you. It's your strategy, your consistency, and your willingness to actually do the difficult work. And if you want to see how all of this looks in application with a real-life case study, click this link right here. We'll see you there.